The church places emphasis on peace always, and even war itself being kind of an end towards peace. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But before we get there, I think another thing that I also wanted to talk about dealing with this peace thing, peace thing.
What's hot, dude?
Oh, good. Is pacifism. Right?
Yeah.
Pacifism. And that's an approach some people take in their protests,
Mm-hmm.
right? You hear a lot about peaceful protests. Martin Luther King, for example,
Yep.
Jr.,
Ghandi,
Gandhi, even Mother Theresa to an extent, with some of her kind of movements against.
And in a sense, like our Lord did
Right.
not respond with violence to his persecutors.
Even though he did say, I came to divide with the sword, which is a
did.
different question.
Yeah.
And we won't get into
That's a
that
good
exactly.
point.
But my point is that ultimately, like, pacifism is an approach that is, and pacifism, broadly speaking, here is to take kind of an approach of nonviolence. Of you're not going to take up arms,
Right.
You're not going to kind of act or proactively fight against or be on the offensive side. You're going to be more maybe on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an approach, but the church always qualifies that, right? And
Yeah.
the church,
So what does the church say about somebody who says I'm a pacifist?
right?
Right.
Where the church would say, like, that's an approach, but that's not always the approach, right? Using nonviolent resistance is good, but it's not an excuse for you to act when necessary against these forces.
Refrain to act when necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
To pick up, like, if you have to pick up arms to, for example, protect your family, it's a necessary thing. You can't just say, no, I don't do that.
I'm a pacifist. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, that's not an argument here.
Right.
Because in the order of things, again, in the tranquility of order and the ordering of things, you have an obligation to protect your family, to protect your immediate friends.
And also, also to clarify, though, I mean, the church would look at people like Martin Luther King, look at some of the actions of someone like Gandhi as heroic, right? Like, those are good. Like, pacifism and nonviolence, every possible means of nonviolence should be exhausted before you resort to any form of violence. So Christians should, and we'll talk about this as, one of the criteria for just war being that it's the last resort, but like, Christians should exhaust every possible means of nonviolent resistance, nonviolent approaches.